30 seconds to get those last minute nervous out of the way. Shake it off, shake it off. You don't need to shake it off. See? You need to shake it off? No? All right. All right. Good evening again from room 212 at Valley High School in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm Vincent Bognot, your U.S. government teacher and moderator for this last and final debate between your Republican candidate, Jose Chiguila, and your Democratic candidate, Erica Cruz. Before we begin, I would like to emphasize that this is a simulation, therefore the following must be considered. Presidential candidates were handpicked strategically and were assigned to play the role as a Republican candidate or a Democratic candidate, so they don't reflect the personal views of the participants necessarily. At the end of the debate, voters will choose one winner based on the following factors: confidence, most convincing, and overall presentation. Voters are assigned a number of electoral votes based on their quarter one grades. A's will receive 4s, B's will receive 3, C's will receive 2, D's and F's will receive 1. Presidential candidates and staff may not vote in their own elections. The candidate with the most amount of electoral votes will win. The candidate who also receives more pledges than their opponent from MrBognot.com/pledge will win additional electoral votes. With all that being said, the process of this debate is as follows. After I introduce both presidential candidates, both candidates will walk to the stage, shake hands, and position themselves behind the podium. Candidates have a 3-minute time limit on their speeches. Based on a coin tossed in Ms. Tuggle's head, the candidate who's going first is Mr. Chiguila. All right. Before going into the details of the debate format, I would also like to mention that we are being timed by our timekeeper, Leslie Sharp, and so she will demonstrate for us now what that will look like. So if you have 30 seconds left, the lights will change yellow, and when you have no time, they'll change to red. Finish your statement, and we have to move on. The audience here in the hall has promised to remain respectful. The audience may not use their phones during the duration of the entire debate. If you are using your phones, and your entire group receives a 10% deduction in your grade. And before we introduce our presidential candidates, I would like to introduce the campaign managers to give a little sneak peek into the life of your presidential candidates. So please welcome the campaign managers, Gabriel, and who's your campaign manager? And Emily. Give them a round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gabriel Rodriguez, and Jose Ricardo Chiguila is a 17-year-old intellectual who finds endearment in aiding peers and scholars from mutual backgrounds and extending a helping hand to his wonderful community. Mr. Chiguila's studious and academic work ethic bleeds through his character. Jose's traits reflect being selfless, being compassionate towards others. Mr. Chiguila's persistence, self-discipline, commitment, and determination in his academics has led him to the door of multiple opportunities. Having a knowledgeable background in both AMSE, Academy of Mathematics, Science, and Engineering, and Hospitality and Tourism, Jose strives to find solutions to his loving community on a daily basis. Mr. Chiguila will be attending UNLV, where he has accepted to major in Hospitality and Tourism and minor in English. Mr. Chiguila nonetheless has always loved helping out his community in the outer radius of his lovely hometown, Las Vegas, Nevada. Being volunteer at an event on multiple occasions, Jose has shown himself to be possibly one of the best in his class, but also someone who can be heavily relied on. With a weight of strictly AP classes only, Jose has been known to achieve a GPA of 4.063 and is ranked 59 amongst 680 peers and students, placing him in the top 10% of his class. In addition, Jose is also on track for graduating with the advanced honors in his class, and Jose is immensely dedicated to his education and being on top of his A game as a straight A student, and has always found himself learning for himself and helping others in the process. So, if you don't trust somebody like this with the education of our future students, who do you trust?
Thank you.
Hello, okay. I'm Emily, Erica's campaign manager, and I'm going to speak a little bit about her. Who is Erica? Born and raised here in Las Vegas, Erica is 17 years old. Often considered the oldest child in her family, she has to take a strong leadership role to set an example to her two younger siblings. Constantly being relied on by members of the family for being more educated and technological, Erica has gained strong aspects of being a leader. Having many advanced placements and honor classes since freshman year. Despite having taken more rigorous classes, she still has a 3.8 weighted GPA and is class ranked in the top 20. On top of that, she is in the Academy of Hospitality and Tourism, or AOHT, for her fourth and final year. Erica has a lot of leadership experience from her past experiences as well. As a ninth grader, Erica was a co-coach of an elementary school soccer team, leading young and impressionable minds. Now, Erica is part of the leadership class for AOHT, helping to execute various events as a team. She has even gone to international competition for DECA after placing at the state level. Her internship this summer showed her how work as a team to complete various tasks once through delegation and following through. Though her many experiences, Erica has become a leader and a teammate. She believes there is a time and place when a leader is needed, and there is time and place where a teammate is needed. And knowing the right time and place is key to being a good leader. A great leader is also a good teammate, and that is Erica Cruz.
Okay, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so, I've been around politics the majority of my life. I've observed, dissected, deconstructed, evaluated, and interpreted politics the entirety of my life. I've dealt these cards before in multiple situations and know how crucial it is for these yes-men politicians to get your vote by appeasing to your political agenda. Everyone wants to make school a safe environment, but with lenience, can we really achieve this? The time for reform is now. Who thought without determination and self-discipline, we could achieve all these things we please? I firmly believe the time to have faith is now. As an academically inclined student myself, I value the discipline and good energy of all things scholar, school, and learning. I align myself with the intuitive and strive for the brand of our school system, yet I observe, inspect, and go with the flow of my peers and those alike. I discern negative energy is not the way to go. As the wise Kanye West would say, I don't want to say nothing wrong, but it'd be wrong if I ain't say none. So the time to speak and act upon this crucial matter is now. As a man of responsibility, dignity, integrity, punctuality, and due diligence, I strive to analytically structure our school system as a whole again and bring the desired feeling to those who hit that stage to receive their diploma and find clarity in my intentions of bringing back full proportionality in our school systems to produce and generate for ourselves, our community, and our future. I hope that does not go over your heads. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make reform for schools number one priority.
What can I say other than I am up here on this podium today speaking to become the president of these united table groups? Why would I make a good president? Well, that's a good question to answer. I suppose if I have to answer, I would say it's because I am intelligent, caring, a leader, a doer. I take initiative, and above all, I am humble. Okay, so that last one might have been a bit of a stretch. Although, I am dependable, and I will be there, whether it's good or bad, ugly or amazing, fantastic or terrifying. Unless there's a bear, then I hope I can run faster than you. Sadly, though, there is something that at times may seem more terrifying than a bear, and that is change. No matter how terrifying change can be, I embrace it, because more often than not, something good will come out of it. Now, I can't stand up here today and lie to you because my smile will not fit in this room when I lie. So, not all change is good. Change can be bad. That's a risk we just have to take like many others before us. America might not even be around if it weren't for people wanting change in government. And it turned out great for hundreds of years until the 2016 election, right? I think change is something unavoidable, and we all know the saying, if you can't beat it, join it. That does not mean I'm a quitter. On the contrary, I fight for what I can. A few months ago, I went to a state conference for an event and was told I probably wasn't going to place at all since it was my first year. I wasn't super confident, but I didn't quit. I tried and ended up winning third place in my solo event and second place in my partner event. And then I went to internationals. I can be independent and succeed, or I can work as a team and succeed. That flexibility can come in handy. A key characteristic characteristic of being president is being able to work both independently and with others, as well as not blaming others for your mistakes. I am not perfect. I make mistakes, but that's okay because like every great leader, I learn from my mistakes, and even better, the mistakes of others as well. We have all heard the saying, slow and steady wins the race, but that is true to an extent. Sometimes faster can be better, depending on the situation. The middle of both of these is often the best solution, and that is just to cruise. That is why I am cruising for a better future.
Thank you, you two. Before we get to our focus today, which is school-wide issues, I would like to ask a question relating to your position overall as the candidate. So my question for both of you is, what makes you the ideal conservative candidate? What makes you the ideal liberal candidate? Mr. Chiguila, you have 2 minutes.
I think with my stances and my positioning on most of the school regulations, I feel like I'm very comfortable with making sure and ensuring that everything is secure for students and not only the well-being of our community. And that's also a really big factor to take into consideration, especially when we're dealing with our youth, our future, and the growth of our community. So that's also something that I really plan to take into consideration in the fullest extent and make sure that my views are put out there and we get them.
I think I would be an ideal candidate, a Democratic candidate, because I believe in change. I think change is unavoidable, and I'm not afraid to defend and speak out for that change. And I also think outside of the box, whether it be for various different options.
Thank you very much. Let's get to the issues. CCSD recently passed a regulation that allows students to identify themselves as a different gender from their biological gender to use restrooms based on their gender preference, their identity. My question for both of you is this a good policy to allow students who are transgender to use the restroom of their choosing? Mr. Chiguila.
I believe that transgender students, should not be allowed to use restrooms based on gender identity. My first argument to support this is, while a student may be able to identify as what they want, this does not mean that they can use whichever bathroom they choose to. Teachers and faculty are not able to go into the other gender's bathrooms, which is why I find it hard to trust someone by their given word. My second argument to support this is, although they may not be comfortable in the bathroom of the gender they are inherently descended from, they may also be able to use the bathroom in the nurse's room or any other family bathroom located in the school. And my third argument to support this is, the morality in this situation is to be taken into consideration when we look to biology. There are only 2 genders, male and female.
I believe it is okay for transgender students to be able to use whichever bathroom they please, because the separating of gender bathrooms has been an abstract conformity designed by the school systems and other places. Whereas people at home, we normally do not separate our bathroom based on gender. Many of us only have one bathroom or multiple bathrooms, and at home they are not separated. So I do not see a reason for the transgender students not to be able to choose which bathroom they want to.
Thank you. Next question is about safety in schools. CCSD also recently announced that school police may search any classroom, any student, at any point of time to deter students from bringing anything that is not allowed in school, such as guns. My question for you is, how do you feel about this policy?
I firmly believe that this policy does not make any sense. Police should not do random searches of students on campus. My first argument to support this is it takes away from the reason of why we go to school, which is to learn. And so it doesn't make any sense to be searched or randomly searched and held up on our way to class and asked multiple questions pertaining to if we have weapons on us or not. My second argument to support my position is it directly violates our rights, and only should it be done if there is a probable cause to do so. And my third argument to support this is, why would we bother carrying out this act if we do not already have anything established of the higher power, so metal detectors and whatnot?
I believe that the random searches are a good idea, because with all the school shootings that have been happening, we need extra measures to protect ourselves. And even though it is a Fourth Amendment of don't search, amendments can be limited, just like our freedom of speech in school. Random searches would be limiting the Fourth Amendment. And that would be a good idea because not only could they possibly find guns that could save multiple lives and stop another school shooting, they could also track down drug use and other stuff like that.
Thank you. Another question relating to guns in the Second Amendment is a tweet that actually was published by President Donald Trump. He stated that teachers should be armed. More teachers should be armed. So based on your thoughts on the Second Amendment, do you think this is a good idea to arm teachers in the event of a school shooting?
I firmly believe this is acceptable. To a fuller extent, there's a reason for it. However, President Trump did also announce that in March he's going to take away bump stocks in guns. So obviously we don't need as many specialties in our guns. However, we do. It seems as though it's a probable cause to carry a gun for anything. Even teachers who usually are always the one who students see in a time of such chaos as the protector of the actual classroom. So the teacher should obviously be armed, and that's why I firmly believe that.
I don't believe teachers should be armed. As an example, a few weeks ago in California, a teacher went ballistic and started cutting students' hairs off their head. I don't know if you have seen this media posting, but that happened. And what would have happened if that teacher would have been armed? What damage could she have caused? And on top of that, students are not always respectful, and among a group of them, they could take a gun away from a teacher, especially an elderly teacher.
Thank you, and I would like to confirm that that is actually a story that if you haven't seen, there was this teacher who actually started cutting students' hair off in front of class. So take a look at that if you don't know the reference. Thank you, Ms. Cruz. The next question I have for you is the dress code. Is the dress code one of the arguments that Erica's party is stating is that it targets a certain gender? And now that we are seeing more than just two genders, male, females, and we have transgenders, what are your thoughts on the dress code? And does it target a certain gender?
I think dress code actually shouldn't be revised, and I don't believe it has anything pertaining to targeting a certain gender. So to break it down, my first argument to support this is if it's not broken, don't fix it. Opening up to new adjustments would only mean the adding of various clothing articles that are much more revealing. And my second argument to support this idea is the idea of attempting to revise dress code alone is a distraction. So with it in place, this would be a furtherance and distraction within the classroom. And my third argument to support this is this revision would not only reduce productivity within the classroom, but also make students' grades drop.
Over time, what is acceptable to wear has changed. It used to be that women could not wear pants, and they had to wear skirts that went all the way down to their ankles. This has clearly changed. Therefore, the dress code should now be revised, especially since more transgender kids are coming out, since people are changing their opinions. Now is the time for the dress code to be changed to meet the new standards that are emerging in this country today.
Thank you. I have one more question on the issues and we'll move forward. This is an issue that has been brought up by the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Different grading practices among schools. So as you know, at this school we have a minimum F policy where the lowest grade you can receive is a 50, whereas other schools, the lowest grade you can receive is a 0. There is no consistency among schools. What are your thoughts on this policy? Does it benefit students by removing more chances of failure by removing 0 to 40, and that you have an equal opportunity to fail as you would to pass? Or do you think this is a detriment to student success? Mr. Chikula, go ahead.
Now, with a minimum F, I don't believe it should be the lowest grade in within the grade book, because picture this, guys. So my first argument, if we are looking at it like this, are we willing to devalue the diploma? This exemplifies that the same person who achieved high school with scholar intentions is awarded with the same diploma as that of a person who did little to nothing in success in receiving it as a whole. So do you guys really think that's moral? And my second argument to support my position is this makes passing classes with little to no effort a breeze, as you only need a 60% to pass a class, and students pick and choose what they want to do in class. And they potentially even do nothing sometimes. And that's granting them to pass as well. And my third argument to support this is students pick and choose what they want to do in class and potentially even do nothing. So, I mean, it just kind of ties around with the morality of the school system. I mean, do you want somebody to be lenient and still pass? Are we handing out diplomas, or are we actually going to work for it and get it?
I believe that this resembles federalism, where the CCSD is the government and the schools are the states, and each school knows what its demographic needs. So some schools need less tutoring and help because the students can afford private tutors. Other schools don't have that luxury. So the minimum F helps out students who are coming from families that aren't as great, and it's helping them get that diploma that they need to even work at McDonald's nowadays. The minimum F, I believe, is more for the students who struggle and need that extra push, that incentive to help them get that diploma, because otherwise they wouldn't get that diploma and they wouldn't even be able to work at a simple McDonald's.
My last question is about, since we are a positive PBIS school, what is one thing you admire about your opponent? And I think that's my question. What is one thing you admire about your opponent?
Honestly, I feel like Erica is a complete leader. Like, if you guys don't know that, you do now. She is the definition of a leader. I love her leadership. I had her as a mentor before, this year, actually, in September when I was doing my internship. Now, she's a complete leader. She would stay on top with everything with me, and she would go over everything and make sure that I was okay, and she would ensure that I'll get my work done, which I did. And she's just like a leader. Like, I see her as somebody who's really high in regards of leadership. So
I think Jose's confident. Like, he might not be confident inside, but like outside, Jose looks completely confident, and it's a little bit nerve-wracking even. And he just doesn't let things phase him, and he's a great worker. Like, he said I was his mentor, but I didn't really have to stay that on top of him, because Jose gets his work done, and he will do things when he needs to have them done.
so cute.
Go ahead and give your teachers a round of applause. We will now watch the ads that are currently airing on TV.
They Jaquila is the only choice. Jose all the way. Be sure to vote.
There is no exception. If you want rigorous standards for academia here at Valley High School, Chiguila needs to be president.
Straight up!
Are you dumb? Stupid. Who can you vote for but Jose? He believes in standards, not the easy way out.
My name is Jose Chiguila.
Let's go.
Present DECA, Valley Viking Scholars, H&T, and flag football player Erica Cruz. Not only will she be a great president, as she is caring, she's a doer, intelligent leader who takes initiative in everything she can.
Okay. Erica Cruz is an outstanding young lady, and she deserves my vote for president.
My vote is for Erica Cruz. Yours should be too.
Cruising for a better future.
Alright, so we are now at that point in time where we have to choose between our Democratic nominee, Erica Cruz, For Republican nominee Jose Chiguila, you have about 1 minute to make a decision. When you casted your ballot, pass it up, make sure your name's on it. It'll take me approximately 2 minutes to calculate, and then we will find out who between Erica and Jose won the presidency. You both have to be there. Both groups still have to be up. Yes, it was good. Hello, everyone. All right. Shh. All right. Final debate day, final election day. We have a winner for today's election. First, I would like to congratulate both of these candidates for running a clean campaign. All right, very clean, very professional. I am impressed. Probably one of the best debates. I am impressed. But that doesn't mean that we have both of them winning. All right, we have one winner. All right. The majority of the population in this classroom, based on the test, the majority placed to the left. That's it. However, Eddie voted Republican. Fatima voted Democrat. Natalie voted Republican. Dejaya Republican. Luis Republican. The winner is Jose Chiguila. Both of them are winners in my eyes, but I would like to have Jose give a victory speech when the music fades out.
Okay, first of all, this isn't going to be a victory speech. I just want to say thank you so much to my group for helping me. And I also want to say thank you to Erica's group for keeping this campaign clean and also being really fun to debate against. And so I want to thank Erica for this opportunity to debate against her. And yeah, I'm still humble about it. And yeah.
I want to thank everybody who voted. Thank you for not voting for me. I didn't want to be president. So I would just want to thank my team for campaigning for me. They all worked amazingly great. They divided the work. We divided and conquered. That's how we set it all up. And it kind of minimized the stress on me. So thank you all.
Okay, thank you very much. You may all now have a seat. Romley, you're getting more and more annoying as the semester passes. I don't even know why. And people think that he's my favorite. What? All right. Shh. And I would like to congratulate you for completing 50% of the course, 50% of senior year, right after you leave these doors. And I hope you all have a good, happy holiday, Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. And I hope to see you here back January 7th. All right? And we are right back at it again with new policies, more consistency, all right, based on your feedback, and more strict deadlines, better jokes, and yeah, all right. Even though I only have about one gift under my tree, I know you all love me, and I love you too.